trouble. Fire burn and cauldron bubble.
Fillet of a fenny snake, in the cauldron boil and bake. Eye of newt and toe of frog, wall of bat and tongue of dog. Adder's fork and blind worm's sting, lizard's leg and owlet's wing. For a charm of powerful trouble, like a hell broth boil and bubble.
Double, double, toil and trouble. Fire burn and cauldron bubble. By the pricking of our thumbs, something wicked this way comes!
Hi, I'm Sameer Jain in Stratford-upon-Avon in Shakespeare's house, or at least where his house once stood. So Stratford-upon-Avon was founded by the Saxons when they invaded what is now called Warwickshire. This was around the 7th century. So the term Stratford is made up of the Celtic and Saxon words. It was a street ford, that is the ford by the Roman road, and Avon is a Celtic word meaning river on water. So Stratford upon water. So at first Avon was a typical village, but in the late 12th century it was transformed into a town, and of course at that time trade and commerce was growing rapidly and many new towns were getting founded. So King Richard granted Stratford the right to hold weekly markets. In the Middle Ages there were very few shops, so if you wished to buy or sell anything you had to go to a market. Soon the town of Stratford-upon-Avon was up and running, and there were many craftsmen, blacksmiths, carpenters, shoemakers, brewers, bakers. This place was also known for its melting industry, processing malting, I beg your pardon, for its malting industry, processing barley for brewing. So medieval Stratford-upon-Avon would seem tiny to us, and it probably was. It had a population of 1,000-2,000 people. However, towns were very small in those days. But by the 13th century, Stratford had a small grammar school. In fact, Shakespeare went to that school much later. Furthermore, in the Middle Ages, people formed religious communities or guilds. So the Guild of the Holy Cross was formed here, and the guild had its own chapel. After that, the Tudor century started. So Stratford was still a very small market town, and it probably had a population of 2,000-3,000 at that time. So this town grew despite outbreaks of plague, and King Edward refounded the grammar school. And in the same year he incorporated Stratford-upon-Avon, the town as we know it. So this is where it gets interesting. In 1557, a maker of gloves, Glover, named John Shakespeare, married a Mary Arden, the daughter of a well-to-do farmer from nearby, and their son William Shakespeare was born here in a house that stood exactly on this property. So he was the son of a middle-aged, middle-class citizen, and he would have attended the grammar school, the one that I talked about. So later he married a girl called Anna Hathaway, who was the daughter of a farmer from a nearby place. Shakespeare apparently left for London, where he bought a house. So he worked in London for many years, but when he died in April, he was buried here in the Holy Trinity Church, and there's a bust here that is carved by Gerard Johnson. He had a daughter called Susanna, who married a guy called John Hall, and they too lived here in a place called Hall's Croft. So during the 17th and 18th centuries, Avon saw a number of improvements. A canal opened, it was followed by a railway, which of course made it easier for tourists to visit the town. It gained gaslight, and in the 1850s a network of sewers sewers was dug up. Tourism grew in the 19th century as Avon became more and more famous as the birthplace of William Shakespeare, and it has never looked back. So the house or the property where I'm standing was purchased in the 1840s, and it was turned into a monument. Anna Hathaway's cottage was purchased in 1892, and of course during the 20th century Avon continued to grow, and in the 50s it had a population of almost 15-20,000 people. Right now the population, the tour guide told us, was around 40,000. The Royal Shakespeare Theatre was built in 1930-32, and the Shakespeare Centre opened a couple of years later. So this place now thrives on tourism. It's a very popular tourist destination because of its status as the birthplace of the bard. They have around 4 theatres that regularly do Shakespeare's plays, and plans have been announced to refurbish the Royal Shakespearean Theatre. It's a very quaint little town, and of course more than the town, this is Shakespeare Central. Thank you so much.